Afternoon YouTube, and welcome to the Minimalist Corner. I'm sat down today, so my energy is probably slightly different, and hence deciding to make the opening to this video slightly different. So today's video may be a rehash, actually. I don't remember. So if it is, apologies, but also there is some new stuff added. So this video is my take on books for a minimalist. So what I've done is I've compiled a few ideas that I think are pretty cool. Some you've probably thought of, and some I think are super cool, and things that people should get involved in as a way for you to be a minimalist, continue your minimalist ways by not having too much junk and excess stuff around your house, but still being able to be an avid reader, be well read and well studied if you like to learn. And obviously if you like to read fiction, then it's just well read. But anyway, let's get on with it. Tip number 1. Everybody should read. So read. That's my first tip. It's nothing to do with being a minimalist. It's just to do with the fact that I think everyone should read. So read some damn books. But okay, that aside, the real tip number 1 is to locate your local cheap book repository. What I mean by that is one of two things. So depending on your feelings, you can go to a charity shop. Close to me there is an Oxfam bookshop, so they only sell books, they don't sell anything else, where my partner, and I have bought a few there, my partner buys most of her books there, and they are literally very, very cheap. We're talking like 50p up to a couple of pound, depending on what you get. And you can actually get some very nice antiquarian books there if you're into that kind of thing, but if you're a minimalist, you're probably not so interested in having books that look nice on display, but I just thought I'd mention that. The reason I say dependent on your feelings is because when a book goes into a charity shop or is sold secondhand, the author no longer gets royalties from that. And obviously, you know, if you're someone who writes or aspires to be a writer, you may wish to purchase your books where the writers actually get some money from it. So aside from buying secondhand from a charity shop, which saves you some pennies, and note only the first tip is really about saving, well, they all kind of relate to saving money, but most of the others are more related to saving space, but you'll see what I mean. So you can visit a charity shop and you can buy anything like Harry Potter. You can buy all the big popular books and you don't have to pay crazy prices. 2, when I say cheap book repository, is there is a store in the UK called The Works. It used to be called The Bookshop, I believe, or The Bookstore or something like that. But they changed, rebranded to The Works a good couple of years ago. If you have one close to you, they sell an assortment of fiction, mainly chick lit, but they do sell some like old military stuff like Sharps, or I forget the name of the guy, William something, popular guy who writes kind of historical war type novels, and you know, some fantasy. They have all kinds of things, especially if you want to branch out into things that aren't just reading books, like not just fiction, I mean like books about stuff, how to garden, how to draw, etc. And they sell books, normally in my experience they are less than the marked price. So you go in and it'll be marked like was £10, now £6, and you actually pay £3. So it's super cheap, easy way to get books and continue to read if you're now deciding that you don't want to work as much and you're living on a lesser income, or you just don't want to spend as much on books. So that's part 1, saving money when it comes to books. Tip 2 is something people miss. Everyone buys books these days. Everybody. Every goddamn city and most towns and villages still have a public library. A library card is free if you've never had one before, in the UK at least, and in my experience, if you've lost the card in the last couple of years, they will charge you about £1. If it's been like over 5 years since you last had one, then they don't charge you for a new library card. So that is free, and you can go in, you can buy all the blockbuster books, you can buy loads of old books, or not buy, sorry, you can have to read, and you can read so much more, and then you take it back so it doesn't even clutter up your house. Amazing, right? So tip number 3 is donate books. So once you've read books, with the exception of a few which you'll probably have sentimental linkage to, or for other reasons want to keep because you want to read them again or lend them to a friend or whatever, donate them to a charity shop, or indeed donate them to a friend that you think will enjoy the book. Two things happen there. One, you spread the joy and you save someone else spending the amount of money you spent to purchase that book. And two, you declutter your house and make a space on your bookshelf for something new and exciting that you can get excited about and read. My next tip, and this is one that I find amazing, I think this is great and everybody should do it, is community libraries. So I actually read about this idea on The Art of Manliness. That's a very cool website if any of you guys have not heard of it, where basically they talk about manly stuff, like from fashion to work to wilderness survival, all sorts of things. And I read an article on there about community libraries, and what this is essentially is someone in a little community like a village or something. Obviously it would work less in a city because of vandals and stuff, but depends where you live. Have just basically put a bookshelf with a glass front so like rain doesn't damage it, and they just put their books that they no longer want out there on that shelf. And then people from there's a sign to explain the scheme, and people can come, take a book away, read it. When they're done with it, they can bring it back, or what they're encouraged to do is take the book and put back another old book of theirs. So there's a constant change of books. And this just allows this community building spirit and community sharing spirit, which I think is so lacking from most communities this day. There aren't really communities. People live and they don't even talk to their neighbors anymore. So I think that's a great idea. You save money for you because people will bring other books back that you can read, and you save money for other people, and you're seen as a beacon of the community, someone who is trying to bring back the days of street parties and people actually getting on and speaking to their neighbors, and like a barter relationship. And my final tip, which is very much the space-saving, fashionable minimalist, is buy an e-reader. I mean, it's really as simple as that. I film most of these videos now on my tablet, and my tablet also functions as an e-reader. You can download a Kindle app, and then you can download Kindle books. One, they're cheaper than buying them as paperback or hardback. Two, the authors still get money from them, and there's a wealth of free books, there are offers, and the main thing is, for less than the space of one paperback, you can have a library of hundreds of books. And if you invest in a hard drive, like a standalone hard drive, you can then port books onto there rather than deleting them when you get new ones, and you can have literally thousands of books in a very small, very light little collection, and that does away with the need for a bookshelf whatsoever. And that is the end of the video, guys, so I hope you enjoyed the tips and get some use out of them. If you have any more tips, share them down below. Any topics you want me to cover in the Minimalist Corner or in any other videos, comment down below. Like, subscribe for more, and I believe my lunch is ready, so I'm gonna go eat some broccoli and sausages. Peace, my friends.